In a world flooded with digital noise and emotional chaos, what if the forces pulling your strings weren't even human? Tonight, we break through the barrier of the visible to confront invisible energies, the emotional and spiritual forces shaping your thoughts, your moods, even your destiny. Psychic and exorcist Jeffrey Seelman joins me to reveal how unseen entities, human, spirit, and possibly extraterrestrial, are manipulating emotional energy on a global scale. What you can't see may already be inside you. That's next, right here on your home for the very best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave Schrader, and this is my Paranormal 60.
I'm not gonna stand here and listen to this baloney. He won't float. He doesn't stand for baloney.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Good evening, my darklings. Thank you for joining us here this evening. Jeffrey Seelman, our guest. And Jeffrey has a brand new book that's out and available, Invisible Energies. Fascinating stuff. We've got a link for Jeffrey on tonight's program guide, so make sure that you click, follow, and keep up with Jeffrey and all the work that he's done. I had him as a guest on the Paranormal 360 radio show on WCCO Radio and wanted to talk with him about this work and go a little bit deeper into this. So, Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us here this evening.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah, there is so much going on in the world around us. So many people want to point to the influx of paranormal TV programming, of Ouija boards sold in every color variety and availability, to horror movies, all of these things that are taking place around the world. But I've often wondered if there's something else, not just the media influence of the paranormal on the rise, but rather something like an undercurrent to the paranormal. And that's why I wanted to talk with you about this. So again, welcome to the show. And let's kind of dive in a little bit about this. Obviously, as somebody who's a psychic and an exorcist, has helped people deal with these type of things. Is there truly an energetic, invisible field or gathering of, what do we call them, beings that are manipulating the human race?
Yes. We are spirits and people at the same time. That's my findings in my work and my belief. I think that we are all connected with undercurrents of emotional energy and telepathy, which is mind-to-mind communication. Mm-hmm. So most cultures believe that after we pass on, that we go someplace. And so where is that place and what do we do? And I think we become fully spirits. Right now, we're spirits and living people. And I think that we fully become spirits after we pass on, and people do not change that much after they die. And so good people are going to have these really great experiences. And yes, we have to look at ourselves because we have that power. We have that perception. Psychic ability is nothing more than perception, and also nothing less. So when people go to the other side, they're fully a spirit, and there's no natural law, Dave, that says that they cannot come back, come close to us, and actually communicate with us for good or for ill. So it happens.
That Jeff, if we die and we've crossed over, the idea that we might come back to do negative work, maybe you could explain that to me. I mean, when we die, there's earthbound spirits, which are spirits that seem to be trapped here or elect to stay here. Those I could understand having an attitude after some time, maybe feeling like they missed their opportunity to move on. Then there are spirits supposedly who have crossed over and they can come back to visit with us. Can those spirits also become dark or malevolent spirits, or are they coming from a different pathway altogether?
All spirits can come back around the physical level and come close to people and communicate with us, and also affect our emotional states of mind. Now, the reason is because most people are good and some are not, and most spirits are good and some are not. And it's also true of aliens. Most aliens are good and some are not. But I think that, so it's not like people turn negative after they pass on. They already are. And so most of us are good. And when we pass on, we go and to this other level and things are really wonderful, except we do have the ability, the newfound ability, when we're not focused on the physical world, in order to look at ourselves and all of our lives and how people thought about us, our perceptual skills change. And so that's fine. So most people are looking forward to that, but some are not. So just like we have criminals here on the planet Earth, 20% maybe of people we would not want to run into, Dave. And it's also true on the other side. So it's not so much of people changing after they pass on, but not changing. And so some of the same people who are doing negative things in their physical life end up doing negative things after they die. And one of their favorite things is to try to manipulate human beings individually and also in groups in order to have an effect, and a negative effect, upon our emotional systems, to amplify our feelings or to get us to do things that we would not normally do.
But in life, we have free will, the ability to make choices for ourselves, which is going to dictate how our lives roll forward, both in this life and in the afterlife. How is it that things that we cannot see and are unable to pick up on have an influence over us without our giving permission to it? Because that seems kind of like entrapment. That seems, kind of like it's full of shenanigans to me, Jeff, that something can push me to do something that's outside of maybe my comfort zone and make me do something I'll regret. To me, it also sounds like a convenient excuse for people that do dumb things. Well, something's manipulating and influencing me. I mean, how do we tell the difference between those that are truly being manipulated and affected and those that are just leaning on it as a crutch?
First of all, Dave, people do things all the time that they are not supposed to do and have a negative effect upon others, and they still do it. And the same is true of spirits. Very often these motivations are for frivolous reasons. We wouldn't understand them. Good people don't always understand why bad people do things. It's like, why would you do these things? I think maybe bad people or people who do negative things in our world would probably understand that a little bit better. That it's like, well, I feel like doing it, and all the dumb, irresponsible reasons that don't make any sense to the rest of us. And it's also true of spirits. And so it is interfering in our free will, and it is wrong. But here's the problem. They can still do it, and they do it, and it's up to us to protect ourselves. And we can protect ourselves through energy work, energy protection, real easy to do, real easy to learn. And so there are things that we can do in order to not let negative emotional energy transfer from outside sources, from spirits. from demonic spirits, from people who are just passed on and continue to do negative things. And so it's wrong, but they still can do it. And I get the feeling that maybe the forces above want that to happen. They let it happen because they want us to get stronger so that we protect ourselves in the same way that we protect ourselves from negativity all the time. And so we make choices, free will, all the time. You know, I'm not going to hang around that person. I'm not going to go to that party. I've decided not to take that job. There's something negative about it, or I'm going to leave and not hang around these people or my job or something like that.
You're getting a visceral cue. Like I can see Jeff Seelman and go, that's not a guy I want to hang out with. I see him over there smoking and drinking and hanging out at the strip. That's not a guy for me. I'm not going to hang out with him. But if there's an unseen force around me, an invisible force that's leading me, that's different, because again, that takes away elements of my free will, because it's now I'm starting to question, is this just who I am, as opposed to it being something? And then how harshly does that strike against us if we're being manipulated without even realizing it?
Well, I think it's been going on since the beginning of time, and probably all sorts of different other civilizations and planets as well. So the idea of people taking advantage of other people is something that is not right, but it does happen. And so all we can do is protect ourselves. And there's also offensive techniques and methods that I teach every day. I teach through Zoom, especially. So I teach people all around the world how to protect themselves. See, here's the thing, Dave. We can protect ourselves. We can easily protect ourselves. We are not willows in the wind. The problem is that since we're not taught how to protect ourselves, then we're open season. We're sitting ducks, essentially, for emotional energy, not just from spirits, but also from other people all around us every day, at work, at play, at home, any place there are people, any place that there is negative emotional energy that has accumulated, which means that it could be in an empty room. It doesn't mean there has to be people in there. People give off emotional energies, and that's a real energy, and it's non-physical, and we can't see it, but we can feel it. And so we're not really blind. We really do get these feelings of maybe something is a little bit too much here. Like, why are we so angry at something we should not really be so angry at? It's kind of like road rage, Dave. You know, where it's like somebody cuts us off, and all of a sudden we think like mad killers. You know, we're going to kill those people. I mean, and we're really not. I mean, it's just we get so angry. It's like, you know, all these thoughts go through our heads. They all go through our heads, and that's very natural. And that's sort of like a lightning strike that amplifies our emotional energies that is triggered by someone else's action. And so when a spirit attacks us, they're usually attacking us with emotional energies by throwing a huge amount of emotional energies on a telepathic level that can amplify our emotional energies and get us to do things that we would not normally do and get far angrier. We might strike out, lash out during an argument where we would normally say, okay, let's just stop the argument. But actually, maybe something is sending us a lot of rage and anger, and that simply amplifies our anger at the same time, and then it throws us over the edge. And we have to understand that there are other players in this very, very real game.
Okay. And we're going to deal with this a little bit later on in the second half of the show of how do we start to protect ourselves? What do we do? And of course, if you want more information, we have a link for Jeffrey and his website so you can learn more about protecting yourself. You can take care of yourself. He offers courses and classes on that as well. We'll get into that element. I have to wonder, Jeffrey, as a psychic, as a medium, as somebody who has the ability to kind of communicate and see the world, unseen world around us, I've got to guess that darker, more malevolent energies and spirits have just got to love where we are in history at this point, because right now, and I don't want this to sound like a completely blanket statement, but let's face it, we live in a victimized society. Everybody's a victim of something. Not many people take responsibility for their actions that sometimes put them in bad places. Now, please, ladies and gentlemen, don't jump on me with hate mail and anger and, oh, you sound like the guy that says, well, what did you expect? You were dressed like that. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the fact that I live in a world where I see people constantly blame all of their bad luck, all of the negativity that happens to them on every other person around them. Oh, my health has been declining. It must be the paranormal. Yet I'll sit down to dinner with them and they'll eat 3 Big Macs and 2 French fries and a chocolate shake and a Diet Coke, because we are watching our calories, right? And I think, is it the outside world? Is it these people that are making your life hell and causing, or the paranormal causing your health decline? Or is it the choices that you make? And we're so easy to point our fingers to something else. And man, if we can point it to an external force that is unseen, that's even better, because now we can be victims of something we can't see. So this has got to be, for whoever's manipulating us, just the perfect nexus point for them to do so, because I don't think the world has ever been in a place where everybody feels victimized by almost everything right now.
Demonic spirits are a certain type of life form that may never have been human. Negative spirits may just be negative people who are dead and continue to do negative things. In my 35 years of helping people, I have never experienced, and I grew up in the 60s and 70s and was very active and aware at that time of what was going on in our societies. I have never seen people more at each other's throat. And so the real danger here is how we treat each other. Mm-hmm. So we're the problem. We're the big problem. And so we're the ones that are generating huge amounts of rage and anger towards our own neighbors and just anybody that we decide not to like, or we get involved in some kind of rage thing from the media. And so they get angry, so we get angry, or we read about it, on social media or whatever. And so I get asked all the time, what is the biggest problem? And the biggest problem is us. And so we're sitting here essentially figuring out ways to destroy each other, while right behind us are spirits that are doing just the same, trying to figure out how to destroy us. The only problem is that they don't have the specific groups that they're working with, meaning that they want to see the entire human race fall.
Right.
And that's very different than us playing these really twisted games of hating each other and killing each other. We're just doing their work. So essentially, while we're busy looking at each other and feeling each other's emotions and sending out all these negative vibes through our feelings, that what we don't understand is that behind us and around us are beings that we cannot see that are actually amplifying our rages and angers just at the wrong time. And they do affect people in power deliberately, because they make decisions regarding everybody's lives on a military level. And I was in the military. I do understand. I was in the Air Force. And I do understand these kinds of things. Life is not perfect. We do have issues with, different countries with each other and things like that. But we're just killing each other off and attacking us. And I have found that these negative spirits are beginning to formulate a plan, working together very often for this first time, in order to push us over the edge and maybe collapse our entire civilization, maybe get people to finally launch some kind of nuclear war or something like that, something we've been hesitating to do and not wanting to do for so many years. And we're not paying any attention to what we can't see. So there's it's not just people that are generating emotional energies, but also spirits that are in large numbers. There's no reason that spirits cannot come close to human beings in our homes, in our workplaces. They do. Now, sometimes it's a positive thing with spirit guides and that, all of that, but sometimes it's very negative reasons. And that's happening more and more to influence the right people, or even people who are thinking about, badly about themselves, getting them to be more depressed, getting them to be more angry, and maybe finally getting them to do something violent that they would not have done if they were not influenced by other people's emotional energy and other spirits' emotional energy.
Part of it, I think, just looking at it from the outside, is, I'm trying to remember his name. Ed, boy, he was a great motivational speaker. Ed Foreman, I think, was his name. And he had this thing called the menu of life. And each morning you could choose from the good side or the bad side. And that sounds very simplistic, but it is. You can elect that when you get up and stub your toe to scream and carry on and let that shape the rest of your day. Or you could sit down and take a couple of deep cleansing breaths, hobble your way in and take a nice relaxing shower to kind of clear your head. So it was just very interesting the way he looked at this. And the reason I bring that up is we have always gone through this. We are a warring, hateful race, the humans. We have tried to destroy each other over and over and over and over and over again. We fight over land. We fight over finances. We fight over women. We fight over men. We fight over religion. We fight over sexuality, color of our skin, whatever, it's like Groucho Marx's old song, whatever it is, I'm against it. We're just always pushing. There's never been this place of equity where people just all get along. And even after 9/11, when the world kind of came together and everybody was kind of American for the next week around the world, except for those places that attacked us, right? There was this kind of interesting harmony at this time of massive despair. And if you remember when Gorbachev and Reagan met, they talked about the alien influence and that, what would our world be like if something from out there came here? Would we put down our differences? How quickly we would stop being Russian, stop being Jewish, stop being Buddhist, stop being black, stop being white. We would just become the human race because we would be all focused on one thing at that moment. And it's always interesting to me to think that we've always had this ability to choose to walk away, to choose to not let other people's words impact us. But instead we feel, I feel like there's been this weird undercurrent of empowerment, toxic empowerment, that we should just buck against everything. And whatever makes us uncomfortable, we should buck against it. Well, you know what? Life is full of uncomfortable moments, Jeff, right? I mean, sometimes you just got to learn that those moments of discomfort are training. Those are learning moments that can help you elevate and become a better human being. But we're already at each other's throats. And then to think that we've got extraterrestrials, demonic realm, angry spirits around us, just pulling on us, dragging us down. Now more than ever, we need to step up and we need to start making more patient, empathetic, and wiser choices. But is that really possible? Let's take a quick break. Jeffrey Seelman, our guest this evening, and we will continue this conversation. I think this is an important conversation that needs to be had, and Jeffrey is going to give us some tips and hints in a little bit on ways to start shielding and protecting yourself. And for more in-depth information, you can check out his website. We have a link for it on today's program guide.
Have you ever felt like something or someone was trying to tell you something? That inner nudge, that quiet whisper from the universe, with intuition sharpened by years of spiritual connection and a deep-rooted gift. Winnie Schrader delivers readings that are compassionate, insightful, and shockingly accurate. Whether you're facing a crossroads healing from heartache, or just curious what the cards reveal, Winnie creates a safe, sacred space to explore your journey. This isn't fortune cookie fluff. This is honest, intuitive guidance from someone who's helped hundreds find clarity, closure, and confidence. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Book your session now at lovelotustarot.com and take control of your journey. That's lovelotustarot.com. Winnie's sessions are personal, powerful, and often life-changing. That's lovelotustarot.com.
Hey, Wisconsin, I'm coming for you, Broadhead Manor, July 18th and 19th. I will be out there along with a great guest list of other paranormal speakers, musicians, entertainers. We're going to have an amazing time, and I would love for you to come on out, meet with me, and get a chance to say hi. You can find more information about this event and all of the great events I'll be a part of this year by visiting darknessevents.com. That's darknessevents.com. Our guest this evening is Jeffrey Seelman. Invisible Energies is the name of the book. It is out and available on Amazon.com right now. We also have a link for Jeffrey's website on today's program guide, so you can find out more about him, more about his work, and see how you can begin to protect yourself, strengthen, fortify, and give yourself a chance against this oncoming storm that always seems to be brewing around us, Jeff. It's, as I said, it seems to have been there through all of history. But now more than ever, as close as we become, it's a lot easier to kind of inflame and enrage people, one another, and from the other side.
Yes, and first off, we can't blame extraterrestrials. They've been here before we were here. And me, myself, I have had lots of interaction with extraterrestrials starting when I was 4 years old back in 1963. And so, as you know, they're not floating above our cities like a movie or something ready to blow us all up. And so that's really not the problem. As far as our nature goes, yes, we do live on a partially carnivorous world that can be very scary, but I don't think that humans are necessarily naturally homicidal. I think that anger and hatred is learned behavior. We are being controlled, and I'm not pointing any fingers here. I'm just saying that the human race has been lied to and controlled by people in power who have pretty much all the wealth since the day that they could control us. And so we're just getting like small amounts of stuff. And so it's pretty, what I'm getting at is that, that we're being led down some path, because if you take a look at our media, and I'm just generally speaking about media, it's all bad news. They never report anything positive happening, and they might have a fluff story, as they call it, once in a while. But it's generally just awful things that are happening, and I think it's deliberate. It's not something new. It's been going on since we started communicating, printing, and talking with each other about what's going on in our different societies. And so I think that there are human forces that want us to hate each other. And like I said, that hatred is a learned behavior. We're not born hating people. I don't think it's natural. I think we're being pushed. I think we're being fooled into the idea that we should blame our neighbors and we should blame other people who are not like us, people who are different. And this is a world full of different kind of people.
Right.
That somehow they shouldn't have the same rights as us, or they're different and we're bad. And so we hear that all the time, that we're negative and people are negative. So why not just give it all up and continue with our awful nature? And I just don't think that's true. I really think that the human race is really wonderful. We have a lot to offer, and we're going through some bad times right now. And we have to realize that we're not the only beings in the universe. There are extraterrestrials, and the government has been lying about them. And there are all sorts of forces that are trying to push us in different directions and keep us apart, arguing with each other and not getting anything done. And they have something to gain by it. But back to the spirit thing, that negative spirits are the same as criminals, and I call them criminal spirits. In my work, I refer to them as criminal spirits, and they're not going to change, and they don't care about self-help videos and all the positive things that humans can do and all the rest of it. For one thing, they're not even human. Once we pass on, we're fully a spirit, and we're not residents of the planet Earth. But that doesn't mean that we're not connected, and everything passes on. Everything transfers. All people, all dogs, all cats, all insects, all have an individual soul. And so it's not a terrible thing. It's just that a small portion, maybe 15, 20% of spirits of different kinds, and there are a lot of different kinds of beings out there, think it's a good idea for us to be as unhappy as they are. Negative spirits are miserable, and demonic spirits, which are more powerful and older and maybe not even connected with the human race, they're miserable creatures. And they like other people to be miserable, just like when we run into really unhappy people and they always say negative things, and they really think that the whole world is negative, and they want other people maybe to be negative. Maybe they want other people to feel like they do and have that pessimistic attitude towards everything. And so negative spirits are like that as well. It's like, I'm really unhappy with myself. I don't like myself. Negative spirits do not like themselves. They might have an ego, but they don't like themselves and they don't like anybody else. And that should sound really familiar to anybody listening out there. Would
it be interesting to turn? Obviously, we do our best to try to protect ourselves and fix ourselves. I shouldn't say we do our best. We don't. A lot of us are remiss at fortifying ourselves. We don't take the vitamins that we need. We don't necessarily eat the right way. We don't drink the things we need to give our body, mind, and soul the nourishment and to help ourselves grow and be better. But I wonder if we start to influence the things around us, right? I quickly will post a prayer and healing request for somebody in need on my social media, or we've mentioned it on the show. And it does have an impact and an effect. People feel better when they're praying and sending good energy out. Maybe, Jeffrey, every day should start with a prayer or contemplation, meditation, whatever you want to call it, where we are sending out energy to the sites and things that, or God, my brain is all frozen today. I'm fighting a cold, so I apologize. Maybe if we send out good energy, positive intention and manifestation to the unseen energies around us, to heal them, to start to give them sunshine, light, and love, giving them empathy and understanding, that might start to make a difference as well. So instead of just binding everything to keep it away from you, ask for those things to heal, all those things, those energies, anything that comes into contact with you today, to be nourished with love and caring. And I don't know, do you think that we can start to impact our day more effectively by giving out to even the unseen world?
It really helps to send positive energy out. Prayer really helps as well, with good intention. And I do think it will help, but it won't solve all of our problems. And once again, I just want to say something about the media in general, that essentially, since all we hear are negative stories that are happening around the world, even if they're real, the death toll of this country or this war, or somebody died over here, somebody died over there, it's also their responsibility to get along with that feel-good plan. So as long as we're taking the time, and we should take the time, Dave, you are right, that we should actually spread positive energy. It will help. It does help. But if the media continues to only talk about negative things and not solutions, if we don't talk with each other, then this is not going to get better, because we're being bombarded with negativity. And I just think it's deliberate. And so, yeah, I could write a letter. We all could write letters, and I think we should, saying, hey, let's talk about something positive, maybe to our government officials or media people, and say, look, can you please talk about some positive things? Talk about some people who were born today. Some hospitals have that, where a baby's born and they play music. Well, maybe talk about something good. People being born, how many people got jobs today, how many, it's endless, the positive things we can talk about. And I just think, unfortunately, that there are forces in our world that are very, very human, that are want us to wallow in negativity while they live very different lifestyles, and we're being pointed at each other as the cause of all of our problems. Mm-hmm. And so what's behind that is the spirits. So then negative spirits and even demonic spirits come in and also attack people who are working in the media, people who are working in the governments, people with power, in order to get them to say, hey, the whole thing's hopeless. Let's just forget about saving the earth. Let's just trash it. It's either part of my religion, or I just don't care anymore. It's all over. This is very negative thinking, and we don't have to go that way. Now, spirits could care less that are negative, because they have no stake in that. They don't live in the physical universe. And so if the earth blows up or something like that, or it becomes uninhabitable, they're just going to laugh. They're going to think the whole thing is very funny, because they don't even live in the physical world, and they won't be affected one little bit. We can't let that happen. So we do have to protect ourselves.
Positivity is great. There's a place for it. We try on Wednesdays when we do the paranormal news to show light on some of these stories, have some fun with them. I don't think it's necessarily fair to broad stroke media as though it's their responsibility to deliver good news as well. Unfortunately, people don't tune in for good news. That's the sad bit. It's just like, I have people that will come on and email me, Jeff, when are you going to have a real scientist on? I want to hear science about this. And I'll get a scientist on here. We'll get an actual physicist, or we'll get somebody that comes in, and I can legitimately watch my live streaming numbers plummet, because when you're getting what you're claiming you want, it's too much information. It's not the kind of information you want, and people bail out. And unfortunately, what runs media is advertising dollars, which means eyes on the screen and ears on the radio, right? Listening to these moments. And if it bleeds, it leads. That's always been kind of the mantra, because that's what people tune in for. They want to see these things. So we have to start to affect and impact ourselves first, that if we start making a good story viral instead of the negative stories, we can start to take back that power and start retraining the people in charge to what we will and won't accept. And once more and more people start to get on that bandwagon, I think it will raise that energy and it will raise that vibration, and we will start to want more of that.
Look at how many people, how many millions of people around the world in every single country watch cute dog and cat videos to feel better and finally see something that is nice. Right. And so I think there's a lot of people who are looking for some kind of positivity. I'm not saying sugarcoating things and just talking like everything is positive and making statements like that, but they can sure balance it out. As far as the sponsors go, I could care less about them. This is not my interest.
But unfortunately, the networks have to have financial money coming in to run. So I get it. Individually, we can say, well, we don't care. They don't care that you don't care. You're in such a minority to them that what they need is in order to broadcast and pay the bills, they need viewers and they need ears. We have to stop being so excited by bad news that everybody wants to tune in and find out, oh my, did he go to jail for that? What did he do? He molested who? How much baby oil? That should not be, let the courts handle that. The fact that people are so drawn to that, I get emails every day. Well, what do you think about what's going on with Zach Baggins in his personal life? I think nothing of it. It's none of my business. The guy is a paranormal investigator. He's not a relationship expert. He's not a dating show counselor. What he does in his private life as an adult with another adult is none of my business. So I'm not going to facilitate more negativity and hatred. So that's what we have to do, is start stepping up and taking back the power, that we don't have to propagate that negativity and we have to share more of the positivity. Because again, folks, once social media and news sees that more people are talking about the good things and looking for the good things, they're going to give you more of the good things because then they see it. But we have to stop feeding off the negativity. We have to stop suckling at the teat of the train wreck TV and radio news stories. And that's why it'll be good when Jeff can tell us here in a few minutes, start giving us some tips and hints on how to protect ourselves, shield ourselves. What can we do to start to make our lives better so that we can then influence the world around us? Even the most microcosm change will have an impact, folks. It spreads like a virus, a good virus. And we need to start learning how to do that. But I'm trying to give some of the rationale towards, it's real easy to blame media for everything. But the fact is, media does what media does because that's what the viewers ask for. And when you give them what they ask for, most times the things that are higher bred and higher thought, nobody tunes into them. And then that teaches a lesson, it's a tough, jagged little pill to swallow, but it's a fact of life.
Yes. And so what we can do is learn to protect ourselves from negative emotional energies that are naturally generated by other people, sometimes without knowing it. We don't always know that we're generating emotional energies. We could be sleeping, we could be dreaming, and there's an exchange between partners when they're lying in bed of emotional energies at night. And so we have to learn how to protect ourselves.
Did you hear that, honey?
Anything.
It wasn't me farting. I was exchanging emotional energy with you.
It's so true, Dave, that if we learn how to protect ourselves and take care of our body's energy fields on a non-physical level, just like we take care of our physical bodies, that's step one in not being affected by all the negativity that's being generated by other people, all the fear, all the anger, that's out there as well. So it's not just anger and hatred, but also fear. Fear has a corresponding energy to it as well. And that can affect us on all sorts of levels, on non-physical levels and in physical ways. And so there's a lot we can do, and it does start at home. You're correct. It does start with each individual. There's a lot we can do. And that's what I'm trying to get across, is it starts at home. So going back to the beginning of the show here, talking about, how we are being manipulated and it's not right. No, it's not right. But a lot of times people do things that are not right. We know they do that on a physical level. Yes, that's too much baby oil. Definitely. So, people are going to be interested in that and all of these things. But the idea is that we can do things in order to repel negative emotional energy from not activating inside of our body's energy fields and not being so affected by all the negativity that just seems to be happening right now in our world. And that's also going to help people, because if we don't react to negative emotional energy sent by other people or spirits that we can't see, if we can do a few simple things, then the plan to destroy the human race for laughs is not going to succeed.
Well, let's do this. We need to take our final break. When we come back, let's start to dive into some of the ways we can protect ourselves. And again, we're just going to get a cursory course tonight with Jeffrey Seelman for the remainder of the show, but you can get more information, more in depth, and start to teach yourself, learn and learn from mentors like Jeffrey so that you can feel better and have more control in your life. We'll do that when we return. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, and this is my Paranormal 60.
Hey everybody, it's me, Bigfoot, and boy do I have something to tell you. So there I was, deep in the forest, minding my own business, snacking on berries, avoiding tourists, and trying to stream the live video of the Paranormal 60 podcast. Notice I said trying. But thanks to my old cell carrier, no signal, or slow and spotty at best. And worst of all, the astronomical bills. Now, I might be a magical beast, but I still got a budget. That's when I stomped my way over to Mint Mobile. Man, that Ryan Reynolds is dreamy. And Mint Mobile plans were starting at just $15 a month. Mint Mobile gives you premium wireless service on the nation's largest 5G network. Yup, even works here in the woods. Don't ask how. I know nothing of your human sorcery or satellites. Either way, now I can FaceTime the Chupacabra with zero lag. You ever try explaining roaming fees to a Wendigo? It doesn't end well. Mint Mobile lets you keep your own phone, your own number, and all your contacts, so I didn't even lose Mothman's digits. Plus, no cryptic contracts or shady surprise charges. I use Mint Mobile, and if you've seen my footprint, you know I don't make small decisions. So listen, humans, this summer, skip breaking the bank, and you're back hauling in another overpriced bill. Head on over to mintmobile.com/P60 and start saving like a legend. That's mintmobile.com/P60. There's a link for it in today's program guide. Oh, and here's the legalese. Upfront payment of $45 for just 3-month 5 gigabyte plan required, which is equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for the first 3 months only. Then, full price plan options are available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Did you know that radio just got a little extraterrestrial? That's right, Dave Schrader is back on radio with the Paranormal 360 every Sunday evening, 7 to 9 p.m. Central on WCCO AM 830, an Odyssey station. Just download the Odyssey app and look for the WCCO logo, follow the station and listen live. That's the Paranormal 360 on WCCO AM 830, an Odyssey station.
And if you like what you're hearing tonight with our guest, Jeffrey Seelman, he was my guest on the Paranormal 360, and you can check that out as well. Just go subscribe to Paranormal 360 wherever you listen to podcasts, and you'll be able to go back a month or so and find Jeff's interview with me there, which has begat his interview with us here to continue the conversation. And we'll be doing that more and more with guests that we share between shows, sharing something on one and something different, but more enlightening on another. Welcome back to the program, Jeffrey Seelman, our guest. All right, Jeff, let's, in the time that we have left, let's start to empower people. Let's start to give people that energy back. What can we start to do to stop being victimized by the unseen world and the people and things around us?
There is an invisible raw energy that flows through everything.
Mm-hmm.
It flows through the non-physical universe and also the physical universe. Now, some people call the non-physical universe heaven, and they would be correct. That's a really beautiful name for the whole thing. And so this raw energy can be shaped into anything non-physical that we want it to be and have an effect upon other non-physical energies. Spirits are non-physical completely. Emotional energies are non-physical. Our minds are non-physical. Our spirits are non-physical. Our spirit is not something inside of us. It is us. So what we can do is we can shape that energy that's flowing through us, up through us, and out into the world, even though we can't see it. It's happening all the time. So this energy is actually strongly running through our system from some deeper source. It might come from something like God or some system or something. I'm not sure, but I do know that it's there, and spirits use it to create things, and we can use it to protect ourselves. And so what I would say to people is understand that you can shape energy by thought and visualization. That can't affect physical things, but it does affect non-physical things. So what I want people to do is to say to themselves that I am creating a shield around me that will send back negative energy to its source. Now, that is not an incantation, meaning that you can change the words or not say anything at all, and they should be said silently. It's the intent. It's not the words. Mm-hmm. So essentially what you visualize is a field coming out of yourself so that you're floating in sort of this bubble, like you're blowing up this bubble gum all around you and under your feet, over your head, around your back. So you're essentially floating inside of this, even though you may be sitting in a chair or walking down the street or at work or any place. And you give the energy a command which naturally shapes this. Now I'm talking about science here. This is not magic. And so when you do this and you shape energy, and like I said, you say in your mind to yourself, I am creating this shield around me in order to send back to the source negative emotional energies. So when negative emotional energies come from other people or spirits that we can't see, and by the way, we don't know when emotional energy is coming at us, negative emotional energies, it could be coming from anywhere, people who are thinking about us. And for some people, that could be quite a few people. And we all might have people who don't like us or whatever, who have, from our past and these kind of things. So we don't know when this energy is coming at us. And so by doing this, it naturally sends the energy back to the source. Something like if you throw a laser beam directly at a mirror and it shines it directly back at the laser beam, it meets it halfway and stops the attack. And so it never reaches our system. Now, this is a scientific technique. It's not magic. It's not metaphysical. Our body naturally has an energy field around it. Some people call it the aura. There's a lot of names for it, but we can strengthen it by visualization and thought, which act very differently on a non-physical level than it does on a physical level. And so it's like, well, if I'm just thinking about it, how does that create something? Remember that the only thing that we need to protect ourselves from with my techniques are non-physical things, which don't have any weight to them. Spirits have absolutely no weight to them. Emotional energies that we generate, feelings have no weight for them. And the best thing about this is it's a filtering system, meaning that we're not putting ourselves in a big bubble so that love energy, our spirit guides or God, deities, or anything can't come to us and give us love energy and intuition and great ideas. They can. This is not sealing ourselves off. This is actually filtering out negative emotional energy by a logical, scientific method so that we're not constantly being bombarded by other people's negative emotional energies, which is the biggest problem that we're facing, and also spirits and demonic spirits and anything else.
I like that. And I like the point that you brought up that, and again, set that in your intention ceremony, your thought process, folks, that I am shielding myself, sending back negative energies, negative emotions, negative feelings to their source. But I am open to receive love, kindness, empathy, good ideas, intuition, positivity, right? So be specific. When you're more specific with the universe listens. Whether you want to call the universe God, the universe Gaia, Buddy Holly, whoever that energy is, send out the message that you are open to receive good and that you are actively deflecting negative energy. Now, for many of you, you're scratching your heads, you're rolling your eyes, you're saying, oh my God, what a load of baloney. And Dave, normally you don't stand for baloney. I won't, I don't stand for baloney. But that's not baloney. The fact of the matter is, try it. Put yourself in that at work. When you start feeling oppressed by the people around you at work, take 30 seconds to take some deep breaths. And in that deep breath, blowing out the negative energy, saying to yourself that you are inviting only the good. You are putting up a shield to deflect the negative back to those that are sending it. And do that for 7 to 10 days. Let it start to become a habit. And I bet that your life will start to change. Jeff, I firmly believe that.
It's true. Responsibility and learning how to protect ourselves and calling the shots so that we are calling the shots and we are not being affected by other people's emotions on a negative level. On a positive level, it's not a problem. On a negative level, it is. So if you don't want to be affected by negative emotional energy from other people or spirits, I have the techniques, and they are scientific, logical. I can explain them in great deal, so that you understand everything and it makes sense to you. I like to do that, and I think it's important. These things are very important at this time because there's so much negativity going on, and we don't want to be affected and simply blown over by the negativity. And each one of us has the power to strengthen our energy fields, become stronger, become happier. And we don't want negative energy from other people and negative spirits, which happens a lot. There are a lot of spirits around here, and maybe even negative aliens. A lot of things can affect us and do affect us, including things that we see and read and visually see and we hear, and we can do something about that. And so all of that starts at home with each individual. It's our responsibility to help ourselves and also help everyone else, to at least be maybe a better citizen of our countries, a better human being. There's always room for improvement.
Agreed. You can get more information. The book is called Invisible Energies. Jeffrey Seelman, our guest, whether it's emotional violence, the war, warnings and opportunities, unbreakable connections, playing to win, thought power. The book covers it. And again, you can get more information on our guest, more information about his work by visiting his website. And we do have a link on tonight's program guide for that. Jeffrey Seelman, thank you so much for being here with us this evening.
Dave, thanks for having me. Great conversation.
Fantastic. And I look forward to more of them with you. And if you don't mind, folks, let's end this episode doing something together. For those of you that are driving your car, listening to the podcast version of this later, maybe wait. You don't have to close your eyes, but I'd like you to do this with me right now. I'd like you to take a couple of deep, slow, clearing breaths. And just envision the smoke, the crap, the garbage that's inside you, the anger, frustration, anxieties of the day, exiting your body with each breath. And I want you to see that auric field, that imaginary bubble that surrounds you. I shouldn't say imaginary, it's very real. The auric field, your energy field. Remember, you're in a room and you suddenly sense somebody looking at you and you turn to look. That's an innate part of who we are. It's a survival instinct. That means there is something that perceives, there is energy surrounding us. So let's do this together. We're calling out to the positive side of the universe, to everything good. And we are declaring that we are putting a shield around us to deflect negative energy, thoughts, emotions, ideas back to their source. And when we deflect that back, we also send along love and empathy, caring, compassion, and understanding so that that source that's sending it to us can begin to heal as well. And we also put this boundary up only to deflect the negative, but we remain open and accepting to love, positivity, caring, and empathy so that we can continue to grow and flourish and become more powerful in the life that we should be leading. And for many of you, this may sound like a stretch, but what's going on in your life hasn't been working. What if something this simple changes your life? Let's put it out to the universe, to God, to Gaia, to our auric field. We are protected. We are loved. We will accept that love. We will deflect negativity and send it back with empathy and compassion. And may each and every one of you, lovely darklings around the world, start to live a bigger, better, brighter future where you're no longer impacted and affected by social media scrolls, because you can look at those people that are hurting and send love and empathy to them, but deflect that negativity. Shun it from affecting who you are and robbing your joy, robbing your life. Don't allow that to take place. I'm speaking from the heart, and this is something I need to dig my heels into and become part of as well, because the world is affecting and impacting me, just like it's infecting and impacting many of you. Together, I really believe we can make a difference. We can make a change and a wave of empathy and love and kindness. And it starts from within. Just like Jeffrey Seelman said, we have to start taking care of ourselves before we can take care of the rest of the world. And we start doing that by pushing the negative away and accepting the good, allowing us to have the good. And for those of you right now that are telling me I don't deserve good, I've done bad things, I've done is the key words. Right now is a whole new beginning. And every time you trip and stumble, it's okay. You're human. It doesn't mean you have to shut your pleasure centers off and not allow yourself good and love and empathy. That's just when you have to ask for more healing. It is not a sign of weakness to reach your hand out for help. It is a sign of weakness to push away and be so ingrained in your own ego that you don't allow the good of the universe and the good of the world around you in. Because really, the only person you're robbing is you. And you, my darklings, deserve a better life. Thank you for sharing your time with us here. Thank you for being a part of the program and doing this with me every week, because it means the world to me. Tonight's conversation wasn't just about ghosts or energy. It was about responsibility. Whether the source is a toxic person, a restless spirit, or a wave of digital negativity. Jeffrey Seelman reminded us that awareness is our greatest shield. In a world that's emotionally louder than ever, tools like the mirror shield aren't just spiritual, they're survival. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, whose energy am I really carrying? The mirror shield technique, emotional sovereignty, thought power. It's not just theory. It's spiritual armor, it's science, and surviving and thriving in a world of unseen interference. I hope that the darkness of this world is just a little brighter with the information that we share here each week. Keep your energy clean, your mind clear, and your defenses up. And just remember, Dave loves you. We'll see you again right here on Wednesday on the Paranormal 60.